What's up, folks? Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about gaming on a budget. No, seriously, all of the games I'm going to talk about today are available for free. Now, you can see by my shelves that I do like to spend a little bit of my discretionary income on some gaming. But that doesn't mean you have to be spending money in order to enjoy an RPG. All the games I'm going to talk about today are completely free and they still make it to my table on a regular basis. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. If you are enjoying the content, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel and gets the word out to more gamers. Your support is very much appreciated.
Yes!
If you want to have access to free RPG resources and a group of gaming enthusiasts to discuss all things RPG, head on over to the Books, Bricks, and Boards Discord channel, link in the description. Rules of the game. For this discussion, I am limiting myself in a number of ways as follows. All the games here are available in their complete form as PDF, either free or pay what you want through DriveThruRPG. None of these games require you to have access to expensive accessories, assuming you already have a smartphone. I'm even going to share a free dice rolling app I use. All of these games are also available as print on demand at a very reasonable price if you just can't kick the paper addiction. And lastly, all of these systems are games that I have ran and played. Also notably, with a proper GM Oracle, these are all very soloable. Number 1. Titles Without Number. Written by Kevin Crawford, published by Sine Nomine, this series of games encompasses Stars Without Number, Worlds Without Number, Cities Without Number, and soon, Ashes Without Number. All stick closely to a BX mechanical base, but with several key innovations. First and most obvious, Crawford has lifted the 2d6 skill system from Traveller and comfortably dropped it into his games. This works particularly well with another change that he implemented, which involved lowering the modifier curve on attributes, keeping them between -2 and +2, which happens to be a range that fits very well with 2d6 target number rolls. Of course, I would be remiss if I were not to mention the foci that he has added to the game, as they provide players an amount of customization which is not customary in OSR games. This customization is particularly useful as the classes in the Without Number series have a much smaller impact on play than in most class-based RPG systems. The result of all these choices is a system that plays like old-school D&D, but with smart changes that make it appealing to those who don't have the benefit of nostalgia. All of this is before mentioning the huge variety of content generation tools that Kevin has packed into the game, with tables to build organizations, wilderness areas, dungeons, settlements, countries, worlds, and even galaxies. Kevin is the master of die drop tables, and he shares these freely in all of his games. When you take any of the individual Without Number games in their totality, you have a masterpiece compatible with TSR era D&D, but improved for the modern era. I played Keep on the Borderlands using Stars Without Number, ran Worlds Without Number solo, creating content on the fly, and have dove into the streets of Cities Without Number headlong. The one common denominator? I have never once felt like I was playing a free RPG. These games are great at any price, and shockingly good as a free download. Check out my Worlds Without Number solo series on the channel for more information. Number 2. IRONSWORN. Written by Sean Tompkin, published by Tompkin Press. This is a modified, powered by the Apocalypse game designed for play in a fantasy setting. The game is unique in the fact that it was designed from the ground up as solo, co-op, or guided by a DM, and can run equally well in any of those setups. In a departure from your standard Powered by the Apocalypse game, IRONSWORN resolves actions by having the player roll a single d6 and adding a relevant stat plus their adds, which are situational benefits or assets. Then the player rolls 2d10 to represent the opposition numbers. If the d6 plus stat and adds beats one of the 10-siders, they've achieved a weak hit, usually getting what they want, but with a consequence. If they manage to beat both 10-siders individually, not added together, they achieve a strong hit, meaning that they get what they wanted to accomplish and probably a little bit more. If, on the other hand, the player rolls lower than both of the 10-siders, well, then they have missed and will have some potentially serious consequences, be they narrative or mechanical. Add to this that in any case, if the 10-siders rolled a match, you narratively amplify whatever the result is.
The numbers all go to 11.
The system does a good job of walking players through this unique and unusual way of playing an RPG, giving multiple result options for any level of success and also giving random tables if you still can't come up with inspiration. As good as the book does, Tompkin has his own podcast, Ask the Oracle, which gives a masterclass on Oracle interpretation and gaming the system. One item of note, you do need to download the asset deck as well as the core rulebook, as the assets provide the character creation options to build your custom hero. Luckily, this too is free. If you want to hear more on this, check out my IRONSWORN RPG video on this channel. Number 3, FASERIP, an advanced FASERIP. Author, unknown. Published by Gerben Troll Games. This is a full-on retro clone of the TSR Marvel Superheroes RPG. If, like me, you played that game, you will be immediately at home. As you might expect from the title, this game uses the Marvel Superheroes RPG attribute system: fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, and psyche. FASERIP. As you might not expect, this game also kept the results table, the actions and result types, albeit with some small name alterations, and the numeric ranks of the original game. In this and its inspiration game, attributes and powers are ranked in descriptive terms, with a specific numeric value associated with each descriptor, such as amazing being 50 in the original, or astounding being 50 in the retro clone. The great part is, if you have any of the original material, it will play immediately in the updated FASERIP. Other than some different descriptor words, some adjustments to the names of the different terms, and the lack of IP-related references, it's all here. But if you didn't play the original, you should know that the game uses a D100 action resolution system, whereby you cross-reference a chart looking at the appropriate power, attribute, rank versus the result of the roll, which leads to a color result, providing a level of success. The ranks ably cover street-level thugs all the way up to galaxy-destroying monstrosities, and every level of play between. The original game had a great set of base powers to represent most everything you could imagine, but somehow the updated FASERIP system does one better, with some common sense balancing and more suggestions for creative ways to expand and grow your power sets. While the game is designed for superhero games, it could be very easily used for other genres with minimal effort. Of note are the two different variations, FASERIP and Advanced FASERIP. I've been through both, and I can tell you that Advanced is more like an updated and improved version rather than Advanced per se. But as the original had an Advanced set, they chose to reference that here, possibly to its own detriment. Number 4, Fate Accelerated, Fate Core. Written by Rob Donahue and Fred Hicks, and published by Evil Hat Productions. Fate evolved from the earlier Fudge, and I believe it was originally implemented as Fate in the Dresden Files RPG. Mechanically, the key parts of the system are the ladder and the Fate dice. When a player takes an action in Fate, they always roll 4 dice called Fate dice. These are 6-siders with half plus symbols and half minus symbols. You sum the results and look at the ladder rank of the acting skill or approach, depending on whether you are running core or lighter accelerated version, and move up or down the ladder based upon your roll of the Fate dice. The result is really up to Fate in this case.
Oh, come on. That was damn funny.
If the ladder result is higher than the ladder rank of the opposition, you probably succeeded. Specifically, if your result is lower than the opposition, you've failed your action and probably have some consequences. If you tie the opposition, you probably have to decide whether succeeding is worth a consequence. If you beat the opposition, you succeed. If you beat the opposition by 3 or more, you succeed with style and probably get a benefit, either now or later. With only 4 basic actions, the game will be rather quick to figure out for players, even those who have not played RPGs before. Everything a player can do boils down to either attack, overcome, create an advantage, or defend. Besides that, you can use a meta currency called Fate Points to either re-roll the Fate dice or gain a +2 benefit, but only by invoking an aspect of the story that has been established. This makes Fate a very abstracted way of playing an RPG, which may or may not be to the liking of a given group. But the benefit is in the freewheeling and off-the-cuff style of game that this enables. Pages of stat blocks are completely unnecessary. Typically, a Fate GM just needs enough to have a rough idea of how something stacks up to its adversaries to create a compelling challenge on the fly. It's not going to be for everyone, but for those that enjoy Fate, they often stop playing everything else. Number 5. White Box Fantasy Medieval Adventure Game. Written by Charlie Mason and published by Seattle Hill Games, this is a rewrite of Swords and Wizardry White Box RPG, which was itself a rewrite of the original D&D White Box from 1974. Charlie set out to make the ultimate version of the original D&D game. He wanted to compile the best options from the supplements and articles related to the original game while improving upon the art, layout, and accessibility of that game. He succeeded in his task. Combined with the best of the original game, Charlie also added some optional rules which will appeal to both grognards and green gamers alike, giving the choice of descending or ascending armor class, saving throws as a single value or an array of types, or allowing the fighter mage style elf as an option. He has given common sense options that give DMs a toolbox to create the game they want to play with very little overhead or bloat. For those unfamiliar with the original version of D&D or the Swords and Wizardry White Box that inspired this game, it will have the familiar D20 mechanic in every version of D&D. Aside from the familiar hit and save resolutions, you will find a lot of differences if you are used to more recent versions of D&D. As the hit points will be lower, players are going to die when they hit 0 hit points, classes are limited to fighter, mage, and cleric, thief is optional, races are the standard dwarf, elf, halfling, and human, and there is a distinct lack of reliance on high attributes, as the modifiers range from -1 to +1. Within this package, you will find all the tools and advice to run a campaign, all the treasure, baddies, and advancement you'll need to game for months, years, or decades. In my opinion, White Box Fantasy Medieval Adventure Game is to the original White Box what Old School Essentials was to the Basic and Expert sets. Like the Without Numbers series, another benefit here is that any TSR era material can be readily dropped into this game with little or no conversion. If you want to roll dice like it's 1974, this is a great free place to start. Dice? I mentioned at the beginning that I could even find a free dice solution for you, and this is it. When I don't have access to my regular old polyhedral, I have the Dice 3D app by 7 Pixels. It allows me to emulate all manner of dice, including the weird Zocchi dice from Dungeon Crawl Classics and the Fate dice for use with the Fate RPG. What's more, you can save favorite combinations, add and remove dice on the fly, sum the results, and even roll with a shaking motion. The app has a satisfying sound of rolling and allows several different virtual surfaces to roll on. Nothing will replace physical dice, but this is a great alternative in a pinch. Best part of all, just like the rest of the products on this video, it doesn't cost a thing. Free resources. So you still want some more freebies? Go join my Discord and check out the Resources tab where you can find my free system-neutral campaign setting, a variety of content generation tools, as well as mods for some of my favorite RPGs. The link to join is in the description of this video. Summary. As you can see from my shelves, I don't have anything against spending discretionary income on games. That said, for most of my life, money wasn't that easy to come by, so I know very well what it is to not have the extra coin to spend on the newest gaming materials I wanted. The funny thing is, some of those lean years were my best experiences at the game table. The most critical components of any good game are a good story, a good GM, and a good group of friends to share the experience. The games here are great, and they are more than capable of carrying their end of the bargain if you can supply those critical components, and they can do so without breaking the bank. There are other good free options out there, like the Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Flame solo adventure, or the popular basic fantasy RPG. And I could probably do another video or two covering worthy additions to this list. But at the end of the day, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear yours. If you have played any of the games here, share your experiences in the comments. If you have another free RPG you think I should have included, comment below. Mostly though, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. This has been Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Good gaming, and God bless.